A family on vacation captures 3 glowing orbs circling each other midair. A metallic craft hangs dead still over Costa Rica before flipping on its side and speeding off, and declassified military footage shows something zipping through the sky so fast it distorts the air around it. These are more unexplained objects in the sky caught on camera. This first clip was posted to X by a UFO researcher named Dr. Dan, who said that an Italian family on vacation captured strange footage of bizarre glowing orbs in the sky, and that's pretty much exactly what the footage shows. Now, most of the video is just mundane footage of the family out on a hike, but then they notice something in the sky. A single orb flying past the sun. It zips behind some trees at incredible speed, so they decide to head after it. Eventually they reach a clearing, and that's when they spot the orb again, this time just hovering in the air. And zooming in, they notice there are multiple orbs, a larger one with 2 smaller ones circling around it. But then, in the blink of an eye, the larger orb takes off into the air. It was a Thursday afternoon in November 2007 when a carpenter named Marvin Badia was working on a job site in the hills of Tarbaca, Costa Rica. At about 3:49 p.m., Marvin looked up and saw what he described as a polished metallic object about the size of a tractor tire hovering just 100 meters away. It was so close and so still that Marvin actually felt the craft was giving him time to get it on tape. While his friend William was busy with his power tools, totally oblivious to the object, Marvin fumbled for his phone. He managed to catch the object on camera, and the footage is pretty nuts. It hangs there in the air with no engine noise and 0 wind displacement, then suddenly pulls a 90-degree turn, it tilts completely on its side, and then flies off at lightning speed. And as one Redditor commented, it seems to move the way Bob Lazar describes, with the UFO turning on its side before accelerating away. Just a few days ago, on April 11th, 2026, a Redditor named Wally_Street was working the graveyard shift at a remote mine in the northern Northwest Territories, and around 12:30 a.m., things took a turn for the weird when he and his crew spotted a strange, flared light drifting across the sky from the northeast to southwest. At first they tried to rationalize it, maybe it was just a haul truck moving along one of the dumps in the distance, but as they watched, they realized the light was way too high for any ground vehicle. They thought it might be a plane, but there was a total lack of any blinking marker lights, and the only thing they could hear was the faint hum of a truck miles away, not a plane noise. Wally actually checked Flight Radar 24 afterward, which is a live flight tracker, and sure enough, there wasn't a single aircraft scheduled to be anywhere near their site at that time of night. The object didn't wobble like a drone or behave like anything they'd seen over the mine before. It just held its shape and kept a steady course until it eventually got washed out by the bright lights of the site. Next, we're going to talk about a man named George Adamski. Back on May 1st, 1952, at around 8 a.m., he snapped a couple photos that caused quite a stir. Adamski claimed his backyard in Mount Palomar in San Diego County, California, was a bit of a UFO hotspot. He was convinced he caught a shot of a massive cigar-shaped object, which he referred to as a mothership, passing in front of the moon. And that's not all. He also caught what he said were 6 smaller crafts flying in a tight formation after leaving the lunar surface. Adamski said he had even more photos that ended up getting destroyed, and get this, he claimed he was chatting with aliens using hand signals and telepathy. Real or not, you have to admit the guy would be a fascinating person to grab a drink with. This next one is coming straight from the top secret files. We're looking at a declassified Pentagon piece of footage. It was finally released after years of them basically denying stuff like this. In January 2023, while some cameras were monitoring an MQ-9 Reaper drone, this mystery object just zips into the frame. It's moving at incredible speed, and what's really wild is that it was going so fast it actually seemed to disturb the air around it, leaving this weird atmospheric wake behind instead of a normal vapor trail before it vanished. This is footage of an object that's been referred to as the Las Lomas UFO. It was captured in 1997 in the Las Lomas area of Mexico City. It's pretty much exactly what you'd imagine a UFO to look like, a silver, disc-shaped craft floating through the sky. The person filming is clearly losing their mind over it. The object is pretty wobbly though, which has skeptics saying it's probably just a model on a string, but on the flip side, some believers think the wobbling could mean the ship was malfunctioning, which would would explain why it was flying so low to the ground. What's interesting is that it definitely seems to be a physical object at a distance rather than some sort of camera trick. Plus, pulling off CGI like that in 1997 wasn't exactly something you could do on a home computer, so I'm not sure what to make of this one, but what do you all think? Share your thoughts down below. Moving on to July of 2023, we've got this rather gorgeous looking unidentified flying object. This was spotted over Tamaulipas in northeastern Mexico. It's not really a solid ship per se, it looks more like a glowing ethereal light. It's possible there's a craft inside that light that's just hidden by the haze, and we're only seeing the glow. But TikTok user Marcela Guzman shared the clip, and honestly, it is pretty beautiful. It almost looks like a giant glowing jellyfish drifting through the night sky. As for what the hell it actually is, your guess is as good as mine. And once again in Mexico City, this sighting comes from 2015. Most UFO videos are these blink and you'll miss it blurry messes, but this one is different. We get a solid, long look at a dark object hovering in the sky. It doesn't look like your standard saucer though. The bulk of it is round, but then it has these prongs hanging under it, almost looks like a spider. It's pretty cool. The footage eventually made its way to Scott Waring, a self-proclaimed UFO hunter who's a bit of a regular in the scene. I've mentioned him multiple times in this series. He was impressed enough by the clarity of the craft that he shared it on his channel. Now, look, could it be a high-end drone or some kind of weirdly shaped weather balloon? Sure, but I found it weird enough to place on the list. If anyone has any clear explanation for this one though, let us all know in the comments. Next up, we have what many consider the holy grail of classic UFO photography, the McMinnville Photos. It all began on a farm in Sheridan, Oregon on May 11th, 1950. At around 7:30 p.m., Evelyn Trent was outside feeding her rabbits when she saw a metallic disc-shaped object coming toward her from the northeast. She ran inside to get her husband Paul. They both watched the thing for a bit. Paul managed to grab their Kodak camera and snap 2 shots before the object sped away to the west. Paul's father also said he caught a glimpse of it before it vanished. The funny thing is, they weren't really in any rush to show the world. Maybe they were just scared they'd be laughed off, but they actually left the film in the camera until they finished the roll with Mother's Day family photos. Eventually, Paul told his banker about it, and once the banker saw the prints, he put them in the bank window for everyone to see, and from there, it blew up. The local paper ran them, and then Life magazine picked them up, making the Trents famous overnight. The photos have been debated for decades. In the late 60s, a government-funded study called Condon Committee looked into them, and one of their scientists, William Hartman, was really impressed. He did some testing on the lighting and how washed out the object looked compared to the background, and he figured the saucer was a large physical object, quite a distance away from the camera, not a small toy held up close or something like that. Of course, not everyone is convinced though. Some have pointed out that the shadows in the photos look like they were taken in the morning rather than in the evening like the Trents reported, and there's a theory that the object could be a side view mirror from a car hanging from the power lines. But the Trents never changed their story, and they never tried to make any money off the photos. They stood by what they saw until they passed away in the late 90s. Finally, at the top spot, we're going behind the Iron Curtain to 1969. Reports started leaking about a supposed UFO crash in the dense forests near Sverdlovsk, known today as Yekaterinburg. They see what appears to be a Soviet military truck and KGB agents swarming a crash site where a silver saucer-shaped craft is partially embedded in the dirt. This footage eventually became the centerpiece of a documentary about secret KGB UFO files, and it's been debated ever since. Some think it's a clever hoax, maybe a crashed experimental Soviet plane, but even in that case, it would still be classified as a UFO. But because the Soviet Union is basically a black hole for information, we'll probably never get a straight answer. But that's been the video for today. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, next time.